whenever you have a target, be it training or a threat, a real threat, you're not going to confront that threat with your back to them or turn to the side. Okay, if you have a real life confrontation, you're gonna take that confrontation head on, face to face. That being said, the closer your firearm is to that target, the less distance it has to travel to get on target, from holster to target. All right. So if we're facing that target already, the closest location on our body, the appendix. Okay. Also, during that confrontation, naturally, your hands will be in front of you. Whenever you're faced in it with a confrontation or a threat, someone's threatening your life, I've never seen anybody put their hands behind them or keep them down here and just like, don't hurt me. You're always going to put your hands up. Someone's swinging at you, you're going to protect yourself. You go to fall on the ground even, you're going to put your hands out to catch yourself. So your hands, they're going to be here. We want our firearm on a location on our body that's going to be a location that requires our hands to travel the shortest distance to get to it. All right, this is all about making minimal movements. So during that confrontation, if our hands are here, our firearm's here, that's the closest that we can get it to where our hands would be, naturally. So it's less distance we have to travel to get to that firearm. So from our hands going to our firearm up to our target, during the confrontation, this is it. This is the closest you're gonna get. All right, with hip carries, small at the back, makes no sense to go backwards before you go forwards. Have you ever taken a geometry class? Fastest way to get from point A to B is in a straight line. So why would we come from here, back, and then back forward? No different than throwing a punch. Why would you roll your shoulder back and let your fist come around instead of coming straight forward? All right, it's just slower. So this is going to be the closest thing you can do. With body mechanics, your arms, okay, this is comfortable. This is not quite as comfortable, but the most comfortable way to bend at the elbow is this. It might be straight out, but it's forward, okay? It's not backwards like this or out to the side like this. This is the most comfortable, natural way for you to move your arms, is forward, all right? So that being said, the mechanics of the way your arms work, just the way they bend at the joint, it is a whole lot more natural for them to be moving up in front of you than to the side or behind. That just, lessens resistance, okay? It's easy, it's natural, it's normal. Also, if my hands are in front of me, okay, they're typically gonna be, okay, I've got a left hand and a right hand, obviously. One's gonna be in the same point on the left, one's gonna be about the same point on the right, roughly, okay? I'm not gonna sit here with a confrontation like this. Both of my hands are typically gonna be about the same amount of distance from the hand to the center of the body with both hands. So if my firearm's here, both hands are equally close to that firearm. They're the same distance away from it. What that does is that allows you to have both hands, if they move simultaneously, they can be at the same point at the same time. Whereas over here on a hip carry, my strong hand, if I'm right, let's just say I'm right-handed. This is my offhand or weak hand, support hand, whatever you want to call it. If I'm carrying right hip, all right, my right hand's closer to the firearm. In order to clear, my support hand's got to travel over here, okay? In order to depend for that draw. So you put one hand traveling further than the other, then one hand's going to be in the place that it needs to be, having already completed the task that it needs to be before the other hand even gets there. So you've got your strong hand waiting for your support hand. It's already done its job, now it's waiting for a pin. Here in appendix, both hands are arriving on scene, so to speak, at the same time. Okay, some cop lingo for you. They both simultaneously move from where they naturally would be to the gun and they're there at the same time. That's trimming down the amount of, that's trimming time, okay? And everything I'm going to explain is the tiny little details, and by themselves might not make a whole lot of time up. But as a thing in law enforcement we call totality of circumstances, it's a total of all these tiny things combined that will save a lot of time, make you a lot faster. So, let's real quick. I'll run over. Standing and sitting. All right, there's no difference. My draw is exactly the same whether I'm standing up or I'm sitting down because nothing changes at all. Firearm, I don't have to. I don't have anything up against my body from a seat that I'm sitting in. There's no angle, even because the firearm is just naturally the way it sits here. It's the same. Draw is the same. You don't have to do any changes. So that being said, you're most definitely going to be more consistent with that compared to, like I said, the hip more from all the back. Let's see, what all have we covered? What all have we not covered? So just real quick, kind of what body movement. All right, so from appendix, the one thing I have to move is from the elbows down. Okay, that's just quickly what hip carry would look like. I would have to. So if I'm standing straight, look how much my body is moving. If I was small in the back, if I lean over, it helps me create a little separation between the gun and my back and allows me to get a grip faster. So I only move my body a little bit. Or appendix, my body doesn't have to move. Okay, that's less movement in the body and just simple from the elbow down. You might see my shoulder rock just a little, but I'm not bending at the hips. I'm not twisting. I'm not getting unlevel, off balance. You've got a steady platform that's not changing as far as from the feet up. Nothing's bending, nothing's twisting. So you're already going to have a more stable shooting platform out of the holster because you're doing less movement with your body. Everything's going to stay solid the way it's supposed to be. So real quick, kind of what it would look like. The way I do it is I clear with my shooting hand. Okay, so if I come all the way up here, that's ridiculous. All I need is enough space to get this shirt above this firearm so that I can pin it and get a grip. If I come up here, I'm traveling again. We're traveling with that hand further than we have to, and our support hand has to go up even further. And then we've got further distance to travel back down to the gun. That's all wasting time. One of those things, again, I'm gonna repeat myself, one of those things by itself doesn't save a lot of time. When you add every single movement together, it makes a huge difference. So I'm gonna clear just enough right here. And I'm gonna move both hands simultaneously, like I said, so you don't want one hand waiting on the other to do its job. So both hands at the same time, okay? This hand's grabbing and this hand's right behind it, pin. When I get here, notice my hand's kind of facing up. Well, it most certainly needs to be down, right? You don't want to go from here straight back down and leading with your fingers, because the foundation for your grip, if you're taking any basic pistol, the foundation starts in the webbing of your hand filling up this empty space right here, okay? So if you come down with your fingers first, then you get a wrap around the front strap of your grip, and then you have to let everything else, you have to push everything else down in here and push that thumb. So if you get here, once you're here, if you'll rotate that wrist down all the way around, like so, and try to keep the elbow tucked, okay? We don't want it kicked out here. So if you'll rotate this around, kind of with your fingers kicked out like that and your thumb, you don't want your thumb here, you want it all the way locked out, all right? So you rotate around, fingers kicked out, thumb straight, and then at the same time you're rotating, you're coming down. So you're not rotating and then coming down. You're going to be like this. So you want to lead with that thumb. If you'll lead with that thumb and you'll bring it straight down into that curved area right there in your grip, and you drive that thumb straight down in there, the webbing of your hand's going to follow, and it's going to feel that grip like it's supposed to. And once you're here, all there's left to do is wrap. Your fingers wrap right into place where they're supposed to be. Like I said, that thumb tip down needs to be leading, and then everything else will follow it in perfect order. All right? So, we're going to go through it from the start. All right, once I've acquired my grip and wrap my fingers, I'm coming up. Now, as I'm coming up, I want to roll my wrist outward, kind of like a twist rod on a motorcycle, kind of. You're going to roll out and apply some outward pressure on the outside of that holster. Reason for doing that is, as soon as that muzzle clears the top of that holster, your gun will flip outward. Your muzzle will flip up towards the target. Two reasons that's something we want to do is for safety purposes. Instead of pulling straight up and like this, you're still pointing, covering off on yourself, and you're outside of the holster now. So your trigger's exposed, your safety's, everything's exposed, and you're still pointing the gun at yourself. Whereas inside of the holster, everything's covered up. Your trigger's not going to be engaged because it's covered, in this case, by leather. So once we get here, we're applying the outward pressure, the muzzle flips out, firearm's no longer pointing at us. Also, that's helping you get your muzzle downrange, point at your target faster. And it kind of gives you some momentum to press out. So we're going to go back, go all the way through it kind of quick to that point. All right, here, everybody has a focal point in the middle of their vision that's clear. All right, the further you get away from that focal point, the more blurry your vision becomes. At this point, I can see this, but not in great detail. I can't even see the sights in detail. I can just see the top of the gun. Well, as I'm pressing out, the sights become more and more clear. And I have to stay focused on those sights and continue to watch them become more clear and more visible. There's going to come a point at which all of a sudden they become clear just enough for you to see them, have them lined up on target, dropping your hammer. Now with the 1911, like what I'm carrying, I'm going to have a safety. Whenever I disengage my safety with that outward pressure, when that muzzle clears and flips out, that's when my safety comes off. Okay? So my finger is just not quite on the trigger yet. So this is kind of what it looks like. Just a slow motion. We're not going to go too fast today because if I go too fast, it's just kind of like a blur. You don't really see the whole entire detail. I'm going to go slow for you. Now remember to keep your elbow tucked. And that's slow. That's slow and smooth. Slow, smooth, smooth, fast. I'm not going fast at all. I'm not rushing it at all. Shirt coming untucked. All right, so there it is. We'll go into more detail actually on the range while shooting later in some other videos, just to show you, the full process. And also, real quick, I just got a new 4-inch 1911, a twin to this one, and I'm carrying it small of the back as a backup weapon. Later on, we'll do some more videos on clearing the shirt for that mag change, and clearing and drawing from small to the back. All right, just real quick. Small to the back, slow motion. All right, so if I've got primary fails, I can come around and grab small to the back. All right.